Hi, it's Martin Gibbons again, that's me on the right, and I just thought I would personally take you through and explain exactly what a personality profiling specialist is, what you can expect in this role, what you can earn in this role, and how you go about landing it. So thanks for registering, I really do appreciate you taking the time. Let me just take 5 minutes or so over the next few minutes, let's see if we can explain to you something pretty unusual and pretty different. And I don't think you'll see any job applications or any job quite like this one. So over the next few minutes, you're going to discover that not all jobs are dull or dead end. Some jobs, and there's not many of them out there, can actually be quite interesting and pretty rewarding. The first thing I want to talk about is prestige and autonomy. And with this job, the job title itself is Personality Profiling Specialist, it's my in-house profiling specialist, it certainly comes with a fair amount of prestige. You will be talking to line managers, business owners, HR managers, coaches, but usually they own their own business. It's usually senior people you'll be talking to, and you'll be advising them on business psychology application, how they use our tools and how they use the knowledge that we have to solve some really big and really common problems. So the people that you'll be talking to will generally take you very seriously, and the job therefore does come with a fair amount of prestige in terms of your clients, the people you will be interacting with will take you seriously. The other thing, of course, is autonomy, and I'm a big believer in autonomy, which means that you will largely have your own realm and fiefdom to operate in. You'll have your targets, you'll have support from me and from head office here, but really we're looking for you to blaze your own trail and for us to help and support you in doing so. So autonomy is a big part of this job, and that's something that you rarely find in any work environment these days. A couple other things I'll touch on, and we'll explain this in more detail later on, but I also want to let you know that this role has the potential to give you a passive and a cumulative income. Now, what do I mean by passive income? Well, essentially that is the opportunity to earn even when you're not face to face or in the office or actively working, i.e., if you go on holiday for a month, do you think you can still earn? Well, many jobs, unless it's on a big salary, you really don't get that, and you don't really get to take a month off, and you have to take those. If you earn a salary, then you have to essentially do what you're told and take your holidays when you're allowed them and all that sort of stuff. But a passive income is a very different kind of beast. It means that you can eventually take that time off and still be earning from your previous successes. So that's passive income, and it's certainly one of the holy grails of any kind of career if you can. And then a cumulative income, well, that essentially means that without working harder and harder, you can build and build and build upon your income. So one month you should be earning more than the previous month, and so on and so on, without actually working any harder, without actually putting in more hours than you normally do. Now this is unusual because most jobs, the only way you can earn any more money, if you want to earn twice as much money, you tend to have to just work twice as many hours. Not with this role, and I'll explain exactly how to do that later on. I'll also explain exactly what you need to do to land this job. So there's no great mystery to it. I'll explain pretty much what I'm looking for right here, and you can decide if that's you. Very briefly, let me explain about PeopleMaps. We have been pioneering online personality profiling since about 2000. 1.5 million people have enjoyed an assessment, and about 14,500 companies already have a PeopleMaps account. We do most of our business probably in the UK, but there's no good reason for that, and I certainly have customers far and wide, from South Africa to America to Canada, um, all sorts of strange, wonderful places, Thailand. It's all pretty much out there, but certainly we're probably focusing purely from a marketing perspective in the UK. What we do, as I say, is we've built some really clever advanced online technology, and we bring technology and psychology together to solve some really big business problems. That's primarily what we do. Our markets do venture into coaches, so a lot of coaches and trainers use our products as well, and we have suites of products that are specifically for those applications too. Now, the job title itself is a bit of a mouthful. It's a PeopleMaps Personality Profiling Specialist, and this is what we call our in-house role. So we do train people to be profiling specialists. That's part of one of our services that we charge the world for out there. But in this case here, we're really looking for someone who has that expertise but is in-house and working closely with me. Now, when I say in-house, you will not be sitting here beside me. We have, from the day one of People Maps, run an entirely virtual online company. We are an internet company with an internet ethos. We have been since day one. There never was a paper-based version of the People Maps system or questionnaire. We developed everything for the internet from day one, including how we operate as a company, how we communicate, how we deal with things. We don't have meetings. We don't have face-to-face on anything. Don't even spend that much time on the phone anymore, to be honest. It tends to be very much using online internet technologies and internet models. So it's pretty cutting edge. If you're uncomfortable with any of that, well, this might not be for you, but if you're quite happy to embrace internet and internet technology and models, then you're really going to like this. Job description itself, well, essentially this is where we will train you up on the People Maps system and on the applications, and your job is quite simply to speak to the people. Now, these tend to be line managers, coaches, HR managers, recruitment managers, business owners. It's usually the senior people, and you'll be helping them solve their problems using the People Maps system. Those problems are typically in recruitment, so they're trying to hire the right person. So how do they know who they're hiring? They need to interview someone. How do they know what to say in that interview? Well, People Maps reports will solve many of those problems. The management issues that managers face every day, again, you'll be trained on how to do that. In the People Maps reports, we have a whole range of reports that tell managers how to get the best from each individual staff member according to their personality. So essentially, it's all to do with personality psychology within a business application, and your job is really to help those people solve their problems using People Maps know-how and tools. Now, as I say, you don't need to know anything about this because I'm actually going to train you so that you can actually help these clients. Everything you need will be provided by me personally, usually through online video training, but supported. So the support side of things, I will support you personally. When you ask a question, it's me you ask it of, and I will answer your questions. So we will get you up to speed extremely quickly so that you really know what you're talking about. As I said before, the issues that you'll be working with, these are most typical: recruitment, staff management, coaching and teams. We are not a recruitment agency, that's not what we do, but we certainly are used by people who are in the middle of recruiting people. We deal exclusively with businesses. People Maps does actually have a small part of its business dealing with individuals and consumers, so that's where we do some sort of career coaching side of things, but that's not really the core business anymore, and it's certainly not what you'll be dealing with. You'll be dealing with businesses. I say line managers, owners, HR managers, coaches, that sort of stuff. You'll spend most of your time on the phone or sending emails or responding to emails. That's the model that we work on. We embrace technology, we use document sharing, we have our own online management systems. So pretty much everything is done via your browser, via Skype. You'll probably use Skype to do all your phone calls and your management, both outgoing and incoming. And as I say, so you need to be very comfortable and happy to be spending time on the phone talking to people. If that's not for you, if you don't, I don't really like doing that, then this really isn't going to be the role for you. You need to really want to and be delighted to spend time talking to people on the phone. You should certainly be prepared to do some cold calling. Lift the phone a stranger and say, "Hi, you don't know me, but I've got something to tell you." So if that's, I know most people are very uncomfortable with that, however, we will show you how to approach that. We don't make it difficult. We don't do hard sell at People Maps. We're very much about understanding the psychology of selling and the psychology of building business relationships. So we'll help you with all of that, of course, but you absolutely need to be willing and prepared to do that. If that gives you cold feet even at this stage, this probably isn't for you, but we'll show you how to do that. Now, the reality is that you'll probably spend, certainly in the initial months, most of your time on follow-up and response. We'll deal with the simple stuff first, but you must be prepared especially when we work on specific campaigns, then you have to be a bit evangelical. You have to be prepared to reach out to strangers and say, "I've got something really interesting to show you and I can help solve this problem." The training, as I said, will all be done online via video, we do online streaming video, so you need to have technology that can deal with that. You need to have broadband that can deal with that, because if you can't watch the videos, we can't play. Now, your work environment itself, this is very important, and for various reasons. One of the big things that PeopleMaps works on is that to put the right person in the right job, for instance, then you need to understand the work environment that you're trying to place people into. You need to understand that psychological profile of that work environment. We've developed tools that can actually calculate and figure that out for clients. So that's something that we do. But also you need to therefore then put the right people into that environment, people that will find that environment comfortable. So your environment, very briefly, is going to be where you work, your home. You might do some calls, some face-to-face calls, but in the main, you're probably going to be doing most of your business on the phone from your own home. So you need to make sure that you have an environment that is suitable for that. You can't have barking dogs and screaming wains and people shouting and all sorts of other nonsense going on behind you when you're trying to talk business to business people. It's just a simple fact of life. So as long as your house is reasonably quiet and you get peace to phone people without being interrupted, then that's absolutely fine. If that's not the environment you have and you can't go find one near you, you might want to do it out of a quiet cafe or a corner in a service day, I don't know. But that would be critical. You also, of course, going to need some decent broadband and some actual access to some decent technology. You know, a laptop, you don't need any high power stuff, but it needs to be at least up to date so that you can access and get broadband and online technology. Pretty much everything we do is on the cloud, so you won't really be downloading or installing software on your system as such. I say decent PC or Mac, it doesn't matter, it's browser based, so it works cross-platform, and you will spend a bit of time in the PeopleMaps technology, of course. You need to be absolutely intimate with that, but we'll cover all that in the training. You will be working on your own most of the time, albeit you will be speaking with clients and potential clients most of the time. So you're on your own, but you're probably going to be pretty chatty all day. You do get to pick your own hours. I say this whole thing about autonomy is big for me. I really am looking for someone who is looking to me to tell them what to do every day. That's simply not going to happen. You'll have a mission, you'll have a goal, you'll have some pretty obvious measurables that you will know about and I will know about. But other than that, I'm expecting you to take what we train you on and go make it happen. So pick your own hours. We'll not be telling you when to turn up. You won't need to put your hand up or anything else. This is autonomy we take pretty seriously. I tend to manage by complete and utter abdication, if that gives you any idea as to what we're looking for here. Now, your own skill set. Well, this is quite interesting. I say most of what you need to know, we will train you in terms of the psychology. What we're going to be covering here is this is what they don't teach at university. So even if you have done a psychology degree, chances are you haven't covered anything that we need you to know about. And that's okay. If you have got a psychology, tell me about it. That'll be quite interesting, but no more than that. Certainly not mandatory. I'm really looking for people who can show initiative, who can actually are interested in the subject and will go out there and willingly try and solve a manager's problems using what we train you to do. So you have to be interested in solving problems. You have to be able to also be comfortable talking to strangers. Your skill set is definitely going to involve sales, at least in terms of some sales experience. You have to be able to cope with that environment, because at the end of the day, you will be the person that eventually is responsible for asking for the order and making sure you get paid and we get paid. And therefore you have to be comfortable with that idea. We will certainly show you nuts and bolts of skills of how to approach that and how to go do that. You don't need to figure it all out from scratch, but you should certainly have some experience of asking people for orders and money. You should also have some experience of maybe advising people and giving your opinion. This is why one of the skills we certainly look for would be, for instance, contact centre or call centre experience. Not because you're going to be working in a call centre, because you won't. You'll be working on your own. You'll be reporting and working closely with me. So there's no big scale on this, not a big room full of desks by any matter of means. However, the experience that you get in that kind of environment is really pretty challenging. And we've got a lot of clients in that area, so I'm very intimate with it as an environment. And it's certainly, if you can cope with that environment, or at least are familiar with it, and you've done some of that, then that is nothing, that will make everything else that we do seem really easy compared to that particular environment. So That's why I admire Andy, who has worked in the contact centre. I have to admire you because I know how difficult that is, and that will certainly do well for you here. As I say, don't worry about the psychology. Everything you need to know, we will actually teach you here. Not just myself, but Anne, who is the other co-founder of People Maps, used to lecture at postgraduate level on Jungian business psychology. So you're getting what, right from people who are actually lecturing in university. So it's at that kind of level. But don't worry about it. We will teach you everything you need to know, and you'll be amazed at how quickly we can get you quite expert in small areas at least. And over time, we'll deepen that knowledge, but we'll get you up and running very quickly. This call centre experience, I said, we've already talked about. That's something they certainly are looking for. So what about you? Well, as I say, I think we've probably covered most of this. I'm looking for someone who's got their own agenda, wants to push ahead, and you might even have thought about starting your own business, to be honest. It's that kind of attitude. If you're just looking for a job and just looking for a salary, then this isn't for you. I can tell you that just now. However, if you're looking for something more than that, if you actually want to be treated as an individual in their own right, and not just one of many employees, then that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for someone who has an interest in psychology, who's quite happy to go and solve some problems. I really don't care what age you are. There might even be great advantages in having some experience and wisdom behind you, particularly when you're moving into effectively a business consulting role where you will be talking to other managers. So the more that you can empathise with the people that you're talking to, i.e. you've had problems recruiting people, or you've had problems managing staff, or you've tried to be coaching people and found it quite difficult, or you've had those communications issues with your boss. So the more of those problems that you've personally experienced, then the easier you will find this whole role, because you can empathise with your clients and your prospects. As I say, this job really isn't for everyone. It will only be for a small minority of people. And for the reasons that we've covered now. As I say, if you prefer to sort of sit about and be told what to do, then this isn't for you, because you could be sitting a long time before I actually contact you and tell you what to do. If you don't want paid what you're actually worth and prefer just to be paid by the hour, then this job isn't for you either. Most people actually, bizarrely, would settle for not being paid what they are worth. They'll take the easy option. So hopefully that's not you. If it's not you, then keep watching, because you're still in the right place. And I'm hoping that you prefer to seek forgiveness rather than permission. And this is really, I suppose, what is initiative? It's that willingness to seek forgiveness. Just go ahead and do it, and hopefully nobody will be too upset with us. Rather than, well, I would like to do this, but I'm not going to do it until everybody signs off on it and everybody agrees on it. Often you've missed the opportunity and things have passed you by the time that happens. So again, if I had to make a call, I'd go for someone who was actually happy to rather seek forgiveness than permission. And if you like to have autonomy, and again, bizarrely, not everybody does. It's a personality thing as much as anything else. But if you do like to have autonomy, then, and you like to organise yourself, you don't like being told when to start, when to finish, and when to pick up the kids, or that's your business. You manage all that when you can. I don't want to interfere in those kind of levels of things. I don't know why every other employer seems to feel that they should, but I certainly don't. So autonomy is your thing. So if you're into autonomy, then organising yourself and picking your own time of when you're going to phone and who you're going to call and all that sort of stuff, then this really is for you. Also, you're probably the kind of person that anyway, regardless of what it is you're doing, you probably find yourself taking your work home with you, thinking about work at home, thinking about it at the weekend. It just kind of gets under your skin. It's just the kind of person you are. If that's you, and again, I'm not looking for workaholics, I'm not looking for people to please me, but you will probably have that kind of approach, mainly because you're interested in what it is you do. You don't see it as something utterly separate from what you are and what you're about. You see it as something that's quite interesting, and it amuses you at some level, and therefore you like figuring these things out. Then again, this is probably for you. And of course, this whole idea about building, being what you're worth and building an accumulative passive income, and let me, as I briefly explain that. This accumulative thing comes from not working hard on harder week on week, which is what most jobs tend to, if you want to earn more money, is what most jobs want, but being able to work consistently and build your client bank to an extent that even when you take time off, you've already accumulated a monthly income. Even if you don't add to it 1 month, you've still got that accumulation. And when you look 2 years ahead, you're earning more month on month because you've accumulated clients who are paying you repeatedly. And this is also with the passive income side of things. As in many of our clients, many of your clients should be operating on a sort of standing order basis, and therefore you should be earning as you get one standing order client, you start earning. As you get two, you're earning from the both of them, and that basically should keep going up. So let's talk about the rewards while we're at it. As with all jobs, the rewards are pretty much up to you. Now, most people don't realise that. Most people and most employers don't really want you to realise that, to be honest. So they kind of just pay you what they think you're worth rather than what you're probably actually contributing. So the rewards are up to you, and I'm pretty flexible on that one, to be honest. If you're just looking for a salary, then this really isn't for you. That's just not how we operate here. Not that we don't pay you, but we're not really looking for people who are just looking for a salary and all that entails. Salary will pay you, and probably it'll feel a little more secure. Arguably, I would say they're not secure, but they don't pay you very much, is the truth of it. So in addition to the 20% commission, and that's what we'll actually be paying you on sales, is a 20% straight off. You sell something at 100 quid's worth, then 20% of that is straight to you. But we will also pay you £10 per hour. And this is really because I do appreciate that your time is worth the very basic minimum, at least to invest some time. We only will offer you at this stage 5 hours per week. Essentially what we're willing to do here is to pay you for your training time and for your setup time, your intellectual setup time, and for the getting started, that beginning of the curve. So let us take a little bit of the hit on that. I'm not expecting you to cover all of that. So we'll take a wee bit of the hit on that so we can give you enough time to get up and running, get your first couple of clients and start taking some orders. You can work part-time or full-time. If you're really smart, you'll make lots of sales and do it part-time, because I don't think anybody should be working 40 hours a week, but it's entirely up to you. If you think, well, I'm happy to put in another 10 hours or another 15 hours because you'll make a lot more money, then I will happily support you in that. And I have to say that, to be honest, once we get you up and running, and we'll do that, I mean, I'm looking for you to have your first clients within week 2, week 3, to be honest. So the hourly rate thing should really just be dwarfed by what you're making in your commissions. That's really what we're aiming for. If all you were doing was making the hourly rate, then this isn't working for you and it's not working for me either. We will get you earning pretty decent commissions really quickly. That's my objective. I say it should dwarf your hourly rate. It should just make that irrelevant, to be honest. Now, as I say, we don't not only pay you 20%, which is not a bad commission at any day of the week, but it's not just in first orders, but on all repeat orders. And I will be encouraging you to be finding clients, and there's a lot of them out there, who will pay for our enterprise service, which i.e. regular users that can use it every month. And we get them onto enterprise, they pay a standing order, and guess what? You get 20% on every month that they pay. So all the repeat orders, all the standing orders, you're still earning commissions. And this is where that cumulative income really starts to come in. So as I say, some clients will pay with standing order, and we want you to find as many of them as possible and get them on standing orders. Imagine you accumulated 100 people paying you a standing order of anything between £100 and £1,000 a month. That's our business, that's what we do, that's our model, that's the kind of price points, and that could certainly and should certainly be you. Now, if you still think that this is a job for you, and I've probably rabbited on too long here, then I would ask you to complete the questionnaire below. I wanted to give you as much a picture of what we do and what your life will be like in this role. But if you like what we've seen so far, if it makes sense to you, if it sounds quite appealing, then and you quite fancy working with me and seeing how we got on together, then fill in the personality questionnaire below. It's the question itself will only take you about 5-7 minutes or so, and then there's basically a very short job application afterwards. We keep these things pretty short. There's no reason to get into huge big tomes. It doesn't really help us, and we'll take it from there. I think you'll enjoy that process as well. I'm looking forward to hearing what you've got to say about things and getting to know you. Okay, let's get started. I say this won't be open for very long, so if you are interested, then I would act today, because chances are it might not be here tomorrow and the opportunity might have slipped past you. And there's not many opportunities like this, I have to say. Okay, I'm Martin Gibbons. I'm one of the founders of People Maps. It's been great talking to you. Thanks for taking this 20 minutes or so to sit and go through this with me. And I'll look forward to seeing your application.